very simple approach as we formalize this to how to deal with the road network in a way that would overcome the barrier between the neighborhood and the park. And that is shown here in this particular diagram, which is really at the heart of the strategy. So, Via Castellina is broken into two one-way streets, rather than a major four-lane avenue or highway with the streetcar embedded in the middle of what is clearly an automobile environment. We separate the flow of traffic into two human-scale streets, each one just two lanes. So the westbound traffic along a two-lane street and the eastbound traffic along another two-lane street, and then down through the middle, the streetcar enjoys the opportunity to run on a dedicated right-of-way that is pedestrian, bike, and transit only, free of automobiles entirely. This approach allows a whole series of streets to cross the urban system without ever confronting a major pedestrian barrier. Each intersection is quite human scale. We extended the urban fabric into the area that was the subprime, the lower development area here, allowed the park to come right up against these more human scale streets. The same strategy is employed on the other side here with the separated roadways and the transitway as a dedicated car-free area. Now, the key to this, of course, is does it work, both from the pedestrian and urban design standpoint and also from the traffic standpoint. And we have been doing a considerable amount of work now in China, and as part of our work there to kind of overcome the super block pattern that they use for construction, we have analyzed and begun to understand how different street networks can function. Below is a typical super block configuration that you can find adjacent to this site in Italy, or you can find throughout China or in most suburban environments in which the primary network is designed around the automobile. The alternative, as we pointed out, is to create a fine-grained network of human-scale streets and to take the major traffic flows and put them onto one-way couplets, as we call them. And we've done a fair amount of analysis of how this would function. Of course, such a strategy is not a new invention. This is a diagram of the city of Portland in the United States, and revealing its one-way street network, which allows a decent amount of pedestrian, which allows a decent amount of traffic flow without inhibiting the pedestrian in any of the urban fabric. This is a picture of one of those street couplets. And you can get a sense of the human scale. When you go to a two-lane street, of course, you don't have a pedestrian barrier. But the key to the success of this strategy is not just that the intersection becomes more human scale, it's also that the delays at the intersections are greatly reduced because the number of turning movements is greatly simplified. And in so doing, ironically, the couplet actually moves automobiles in a more fluid way than the standard major arterial intersection. This may be more technical than we need to get into here, but this is a study we did that looked at the comparison of a couplet with multiple with a dense street network, and therefore many intersections, versus a kind of major arterial system with major intersections less frequently placed. And the end result of this analysis was that the traffic time through the network above was 8 minutes, the travel time for the automobile, the network below, is just 6 minutes. So effectively, at the same time that this creates a more urban street network and more pedestrian-friendly environment, it actually moves automobiles in a more efficient way. So the urban design here takes the major boulevard here and divides it, as I've mentioned, into two one-way streets, which then become quite fluid with the scale and pattern and block size of the urban fabric. In a way, the major arterial disappears. And then down the center, you can see this central alignment here is a street dedicated to the streetcar, pedestrian, and bikes only. A linear piazza, in effect. In this drawing, also, the new subway station is located here, and a critical pedestrian street connects it out to the park in this area here. This is a diagram of the new series of public spaces. In the historic neighborhood, there are three piazzas very close to what happened. It used to be a Via Gasolina, and each one is extended along a human-scale street, or in the case of the Parco di Centro Celli's new station, a pedestrian piazza that fans out from that location across the dedicated transit boulevard here to the corner of the reconfigured park. This corner is also connected then across via Palmiro, to additional open space and monuments in this area. And this just shows some of the primary circulation. Now, one of the key areas and challenges was how to redevelop the land around the new station and directly here to the west, which was an old industrial area, and also how to connect it through to the park. And so here you can see this is the one-way westbound street, the pedestrian transit streetcar alignment here, and then the eastbound street here, which actually creates four intersections with the major